Good morning, Cindy here, and it is the middle of April. Our temperatures are still fantastic. There's a slight breeze this morning, and I thought it was high time that we had a tour of my spring garden, and we're going to show you the front yard and the backyard. There are many Texas natives back here that are thriving. They came back after a fairly mild winter, thank goodness. And I also want to show you a lot of new things that I've planted. So let's take a look. Well, the first place I want to take you is the front porch, where I have a little nursery going on. Some of the things I showed you in an earlier video where I propagated figs, and I have 5 fig trees that have made it. And I am very soon going to put these in much larger containers. But look how great. And I just did that from taking one stick off of a neighbor's fig tree, and I cut it into sections, popped it into some dirt, and voila, I have 5 fig trees. Isn't that wonderful? And if you tried to go buy a fig tree right now, you know, they're $20. So I've saved so much money. Okay, and here on the porch we have begonia, and I have a fern. And let's go over to this side. So you may have seen some of the videos I did where I planted seeds in milk jugs. And look what we have. I have actually 5. There's 3 here and 2 here. 5 made it. And I think that's pretty good. I had 11, so 6 of them didn't make it. And some of them require cold stratification or a period of cold weather before they can come out. And I guess I just didn't have a cold enough situation. So this is black-eyed Susans. This is bee balm, and this is gomphrena. So I have 2 little bee balm, and very soon I need to pull these apart, and I'll show you how you do that, and put them in larger containers, each in their own container. And then over here, sadly, the duct tape I had put around the center of the jug, it did not hold the name of the plant, so I used a Sharpie, and you can barely see what it is, and so I don't know what those are. But that doesn't matter. I'm going to plant them, and I'll find out what they are very soon. So let me show you what I mean by that. Like here. See, this says bee balm. And for some reason, the 2 pieces of tape I had on these 2, the Sharpie just came right off. So I don't know what they are. And let me show you these gorgeous petunias. Now these are not your ordinary petunias, these are super petunias, and it's not very easy to find these yet. I did come across them at my neighborhood HEB, if you can believe that, and they were under $20 each, and they are super. They can take the heat as long as you never let them dry out. And I've had these in the past, and I just love them. Anytime I find super petunias, I grab them. And so these will just hang here on my front porch for the entire summer. They do not care about the extreme heat or sun. Isn't that great? Now these are an annual. They are not a Texas native, so I do allow myself a few fun things. Not that Texas natives aren't fun. There are some gorgeous Texas natives. And in my containers here on the front porch, these 2 black containers, they're still going strong. So I'm happy with that. But let's back up here. Earlier in a video, I showed you ground cover. So go back and look at my ground cover video, and you can see what this looked like about, 3 weeks ago. This was solid purple. All of this was solid purple. And now the only thing that is still purple is the phlox. This is creeping phlox. And this is ajuga, and this is a sedum, and this was bright pink. It was so pretty. but now it's their turn to kind of lose the flowers, and they will stay evergreen. And I usually cut this back to about 3 inches, and it stays very low just as a ground cover all year long, and it is evergreen. So these are not Texas natives, but they are considered adapted, so they do well in our extreme heat. Believe it or not, these are in full sun. They did just fine as long as I provided 2 very important things. I have very deep mulch. Can you see that mulch? I have at least 3 inches of mulch, and I have a drip irrigation system, so underground tubing that keeps them wet. I turn that on once a week, and as long as you have plenty of mulch, that's enough. Now, that's not enough if you are talking about new plants, but these are established, and so we can get away with only having to water once a week. Let's see what else is here. The highlight here is my Shasta daisies. There's a big, huge clump of them. You can't really tell, but this clump is about 4 feet in circumference, and there's another big clump of them over there. And in no time, these will be covered with white daisies. They're so pretty. Here on the right, I have the wonderful abelia. This is Rose Creek abelia, and these just got a trim. The only problem with abelia, they are fast growing, and you do have to come in with hedge trimmers about twice a year, or they get really woolly and they really want to extend a little taller. But you can keep them at the level that you want them to be. This is the same thing. This is also abelia, but this is the lemon, Little Miss Lemon, I believe. And here is my most favorite plant. This is a Texas native. This is Salvia Mystic Spires. So this gets really big. I sometimes do have to stake it up a little bit. It is a great idea to chop off the first foot of it, chop it down about 1 foot, and that helps the lower branches get thicker and more stable, fuller, so it can hold the plant up the entire year. But this is, it started blooming the first part of April, and it is going to bloom all the way through October. So you cannot go wrong with Mystic Spires. You just need to give it a nice big space. And right in front of Mystic Spires is some lantana. This is just new gold, the Texas native yellow. And I am going to have to move some of this. It has kind of spread, and I am not loving how it's getting into other areas. So you don't want your plants to bully you. So I am going to be thinning the lantanas out a bit. And this is exciting. I want to show you this. This is agapanthus, and I planted this in 2021. I just had to go back and look at my records. And it has not been a big performer, but this year, so 3 years later, it's finally looking like it's going to be happy here and make it. So I'm going to make sure to give it plenty of space. This will multiply, and I can see it does have a bulbous kind of a root. I can see that there are 3 that it has multiplied into. So I planted 1, and now there's 3. I'm not ready to divide it yet, but that is certainly something you will do with agapanthus. Now this will shoot up 1 tall stalk, and it will have a beautiful purple flowering ball of purple flowers. It's just gorgeous. And I am going to give this a little 5-10-5 fertilizer and make sure it's really happy. And this really does want a little more moisture than most of the plants that around it. So I will baby this one a little bit more, just so I can get one of those beautiful purple flower stalks. And as time goes along, this could fill this whole area with these beautiful strappy leaves. Now you only get the purple flowers once a year, and that is right around Mother's Day is when they tend to bloom. So I can't wait. It's been so exciting. I had one when it first came, in from the nursery, and then it hasn't done a thing. But that's what they say about agapanthus. Sometimes it takes it a while to get comfortable in its situation. So I'm so excited it's doing something. All right, let's move over here. The left side, I have a lot of salvia on this side, and this is, they're not really doing much right now because I chopped all their heads off. You say, what? You chopped their heads off? Yes, this is the Henry Dahlberg salvia, and it had shot up all of these skinny white stems, and they had the white flowers. Let me get a little closer. This is a little miniature one, but I could tell right away that they were popping up their florets way too soon, and they hadn't developed much of a base. So and they also spread over here on their own. They really are good spreaders. So if you want something to fill a garden bed, get yourself some Henry Dahlbergs. Now these are all the whites. No, actually this one is purple and this one is white. And so I got a white one over here just through spreading. And now that I've cut them back, they will have a much denser base, and they'll be able to hold up these beautiful spires of flowers they get. And over here, coneflower. Coneflower is back. This is a reseeder. It comes back every year, and it kind of struggled in last year towards the end of the summer, but it is something that I just love seeing every year. Let me get a little closer. Here are some new ones, and here is one little coneflower that's quite early, but you can see there all of these are covered with the soon-to-be purpley pink coneflower, or echinacea. So I'm excited about that. Here's one more Henry Dahlberg salvia, and this one is in purple. And I did the same thing. I chopped it down. If you can see, I chopped all of its heads off, just about a foot, and that will make sure that the plant, I've sent a message to the plant telling it to stop growing so tall, but grow thicker and stronger down below. It's really hard when you're a new gardener, but it really does make a huge difference in the life of the plant. And here on the far left is my huge, beautiful laurel. This is a cherry laurel, and you really got to give your cherry laurel space, but isn't that a gorgeous specimen? And this one is about 4 years old. Can you believe that? And as I slowly turn around, these are abelias, by the way, more abelias. I'll let you take a look at the grass. The grass is greening up. This is zoysia grass. I highly recommend it. It's drought tolerant, kid tolerant, pet tolerant, and it doesn't mind our incredible heat, and it also doesn't mind shade. So it's a great grass. And I have a section of rock all the way around the property, trying to have less grass. All the homes in this area have big lawns, which I thought was so great when we first moved in, but now with the water situation around here, I'm not so sure. But it's, we did turn the water off for quite a while, and it still survived. So if you remember, this is the front flower bed, the very front of the house. Right here I had a knockout rose, and it was about this tall, and it was diseased for some reason. I don't know why. Knockout roses typically are very disease resistant, but this one got something, so we took it out. And I have gone ahead and put in more abelias, kind of copying what's going on here. So these are very young, and they are doing great. And I am trying to decide what I want to do here in the middle. So for right now, I have put in a Mexican sage bush, and this is going to be gorgeous. The only problem with this is it dies back in the winter, and I really wanted something here that would be more evergreen. So he's just a placeholder while I figure out what I'm going to do here. But it's got these gorgeous purple flowers on it. Isn't that pretty? And the bees and the butterflies love it. And that is definitely a Texas native. So this is fall aster, and I'll put a picture up on the screen, but this will get about 3 feet wide, and it stays fairly low, and it's covered with beautiful purple flowers, kind of like little mums or zinnias. But they're little. So it's a really great plant, and it is very drought tolerant and very tough. I highly recommend this. So you have to get yourself a lot of lantana if you're trying to fill a garden area. These will spread to about 3 to 4 feet. They can get they can get up to about 3 feet high, but you can chop them down if you don't want them to be that high. And while I'm here, let's look at this little guy. These little woolly black caterpillars are crawling everywhere in my yard, and maybe they're in your yard too. And they are a moth. So the black woolly guys are moths. There's some kind of a marsh moth and a tiger moth. So don't hurt them. They are not going to hurt you if you just don't bother them. And they are beneficial to our gardens. Okay, let's keep going. If we go down here, I've planted some new things across the front. Last year I had a giant gomphrena here. I don't know if you remember, but it had pink balls, and they were so gorgeous, but it really was huge, and it kind of took over my sidewalk. So I decided to move it, and I'll show you where I put it. And this is May Night. This is a low, compact plant that stays put, stays in its place, and it'll get beautiful purple flowers all over it. And moving on down, this is Texas Sundrops, or Callilophus. And this is a Texas native. It is tough. It's got a little yellow plant on it. And I'm not sure that I'm loving this type of a leaf structure, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna watch it. I've never had this before, but it's definitely tough. There's another May Night, and there's another Callilophus. And then there is another Mystic Spires, the salvia, and this will get quite big. I'm excited for it to fill this entire space. So I've given it a really big area, and it should do just that. Now I need to come in and take this spire down, because it is not going to be able to hold all that it's going to produce. So I am going to chop that down, and anytime that it gets something just a little bit too crazy, I will take it down, because this is a brand new plant, and I want to encourage it to keep the lower section thicker. These get so heavy that they all start falling over, and I do not want to spend my summer propping up plants when I can encourage them to prop themselves up right now. It's tough, but you can do it. And then over here I have a couple of great plants. These are not Texas natives, but they are wonderful beauties. I have to keep them in the garage in the wintertime, but we know about foxtail fern. I have found that they did not like the previous really cold winters. I lost all my foxtail fern. It might have made it in the winter we just had, but since I went ahead and put it in a pot, it's much happier. And I want to tell you, I put some magnesium. I mixed up a tablespoon of magnesium, or Epsom salt is another term, and I just had so many new branches pop up. So definitely go back and look at my video, and you can see how I put 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt in a gallon of water, and my ferns just took off. And then here I have a gorgeous hibiscus, and it's covered with beautiful buds. It's about to really explode. And this was yesterday's, and it's a double. Isn't that gorgeous? But it is really coming out. It's going to be so pretty. I really have to watch this for bugs, because I have had a real problem with bugs chewing them off before they could even get started. So keep a good eye on that. You can check in on my Vitex tree. So at this time, my Vitex tree is covered with beautiful buds. It's just about ready to explode with purple flowers all over it. I have not limbed this up yet, so this looks more like a shrub than a tree. But shortly I am going to do that, because I really want it to be in a more tree shape. But this is a very tough Texas native. It's more of an ornamental tree because they don't get very big. But they're just a wonderful addition to any garden. And then around my ugly electric box, I have Nellie Stevens holly. These are super tough. There is not much water out here. I did have to hand water these for the first year, but this is year 3. So you've heard the saying, the first year they sleep, the second year they creep, and the third year they leap. So this is the year for my Nellie Stevens holly to leap. And I'm ready for them to do that, because I am sick of looking at that ugly electrical box. You do have to keep some section open for the servicemen to be able to access the box, but anyway, this is still going to be better than nothing. So I've got 3 on this side and 4 on the other side. And this puts out a beautiful red berry in the fall and in the winter. And they stay evergreen, and they get up about 4 to 5 feet tall, and even taller if you don't. These can get up quite tall. I will manage it, and I won't let it get up taller than 5 feet probably. Okay, and over here I have my best evergreen. This is Yopon holly, and this is a slow grower. This is probably the toughest of all the evergreens. Let me get a little closer. It kind of looks like a boxwood, but it is a lot tougher than boxwood. It is very disease resistant, and I shape it into a circle. You can shape it all kinds of ways, or let it grow however you want. And this one just kind of grew on its own over here, and I've just allowed it to stay there. And then if you look all the way down the front section of my yard, it's rocky, to try to cut back on some of the grass. And I have these red yuccas. They put out the beautiful pink spires. I just love these, and they get no water. This is just whatever rainwater it gets, and I have several of them all the way down the front, repeating. Big old Texas sage. You've got to have a Texas sage if you live in Texas. And whenever it's about to rain, it gets covered with pinky purple flowers. I'll get a little closer to that in a minute. And then here, if you've watched me for any length of time, you'll see that I love bougainvillea. And these have been in the garage in the winter. They can't make it here in the ground, but in the garage they are fine in the winter. And then I've just put them out, and they're starting to put out some beautiful pink flowers, and in no time at all they'll have these long beautiful arms covered with pink flowers. So I just love these. Now I have to hand water these, sadly, so I don't recommend bougainvillea for our area unless you really plan to, help them along. They are not drought tolerant, but they can definitely take our full sun. Now here is our 2 lantanas. This is the purple trailing lantana, and they do great. They go dormant in the winter, so this one is slowly coming back, and this one is coming back just a little quicker. But purple trailing lantana are really great Texas native. They come back every year, and I do give them a little extra water. Whenever I'm watering the bougainvillea, I give them a drink, just because they don't seem to, they do seem to need more water than these agave. These guys, they don't care if they never got a drop of water. They are the best plant. But the lantana do need more water. And so if we just walk down quickly, there's another purple trailing lantana. Again, they've just come out of dormancy, so there's no purple flowers yet. And looking at this beautiful Texas sage, this is the grayish variety. There's also a green variety, so you can choose whichever one you like. They're equally as hardy, and they're just a great evergreen plant. They stay like this all year long. And I keep mine cut down because I don't want it to block the view of the house. So I keep mine to about 3 feet tall. Maybe this is probably more 4 feet tall. So you can cut on them if you want. I think they can get up to 8 feet tall if you let them. So thank you so much for watching my front yard April tour. I enjoyed showing you around, showing you all of the Texas natives that are making it in this extreme Central Texas climate. And the backyard video, I decided to split, and so that's coming up next. It just got too long. So that is already in the books, made, and just look for that. And also, if you wouldn't mind, please like and comment below. Tell me what natives you are growing, if you are growing natives at all, and what your experience is. So thank you so much. I hope you get a chance to get in your garden today. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.